Hello everyone and welcome back to my The General Hospital 24 YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Kai and Trina arrive at the sanitarium. Kai is out of his sling and admits he's nervous about this press conference, and he doesn't want to fail Drew. She tells him he'll be amazing and not to worry about Drew. Jordan and Curtis arrive, and Jordan still can't believe Curtis is giving Drew content. Curtis tells Jordan he's going to let Drew suppose he's won. Jordan says Drew isn't going to stop abhorring him or condemning him for what he's lost. Curtis knows, and one day soon, Drew's exaggerated pride will lead him to make a big mistake and cross a line. In Portia's office, Drew gives her pointers on introducing him and reminds her that this is about the kiddies moment. Portia tells him that she's done everything he's wanted, so take the palm. He reminds her that he's the one keeping her from paying for the crimes she committed, so stop treating him as an adversary and start treating him as a friend. He leaves, and Portia looks at a train on Drew. Kai and Trina meet with Jordan and Curtis, and Drew soon arrives. Jordan goes to check on Portia, while Drew gives Kai a vim talk. Drew asks Kai about his plans for the future and tells him to consider using his natural seductiveness as a way to get into politics. Meanwhile, Trina tells Curtis that Kai has faith in Drew, and they know he can't be trusted. She feels she should have advised him. Councilman Ezra Boyle appears and says hello to Drew, noting that this will be a great day for Port Charles. When Curtis sees them together, he tells Trina he knows just what to do about Drew. Curtis approaches Drew, Ezra and Kai, and asks to adopt Kai. They step down, and Ezra tells Drew he chose wisely picking Kai as a prophet, and it's a shame what happened with the beachfront. Ezra blames Laura's attachment to Sonny for being the reason why they couldn't dislocate it. Curtis warns Kai that Drew isn't who he thinks he is. Drew will promise him anything to get what he wants, and he won't recognize the pledges. He asks Kai to be careful. Curtis says this sports action with the sanitarium is a good thing, and not to let Drew get in the way of that for him. Jordan stops by to see Portia in her office, and the croaker is still reading a train on Drew. Jordan admits she's shocked Portia hasn't given this press conference task to Terry, but Portia says this is good for the sanitarium and she and Curtis are in agreement about her doing this. Portia and Jordan head to the place for the press conference. Portia spots Curtis with Kai and asks Trina what's going on with them. Trina says Curtis is giving him a heads up on Drew. The press conference happens off-screen. Drew tells Kai he was great, and Curtis tells Trina her Joe Kai is commodity. Meanwhile, Ezra is gushing to Portia about how great this is going to be for Port Charles and the sanitarium. In her room, Carly has an agony about the poisoning and wakes up calling Jack's name. Lucas stands in the door and says, "No similar luck, it's just me. Your baby family." Lucas lays into Carly for not hearkening to everyone who has told her to stay down from Brennan. Carly tells him Jack isn't at fault, that Valentin is. Carly says she heard it all from Felicia last night. She says Jack is a gorgeous man who was interested in her, and she wanted to see where it would go. She says it was going great, until it wasn't. Lucas wants to see her happy, but tells her to date someone who wouldn't get her killed, like a dentist. He tells Carly that dating Brennan isn't good for her or her health, and he's one of a long list of people who depend on her and need her around. At Drew's house, Willow tells Nina that she and Drew talked effects through, and there's no reason she shouldn't move by then. Willow says she knows what she's doing, and she needs Nina to trust her. Willow explains she's going to reach out to Michael and tell there's no knowing when he'll be home, so they can't live in limbo. Nina again argues that if she moves in with Drew, she'll lose her children. Nina says Michael has gone through a life-changing incident, and he's not going to come out of it allowing the world as beautiful. Willow still doesn't suppose Michael will launch a guardianship battle, and Drew would no way let him take the kiddies from her. She has to get to Wiley's academy for a conference but insists they will be happy then, and everything will be fine. At Alexa's office, Christina brings her mom a coffee and can see commodity is wrong. Alexa says it's Valentin. He wants her to represent him, and he wants to be released. That's commodity she can't do, given he accidentally poisoned Carly, who wasn't his intended victim. Christina asks if he doesn't have a counsel. Alexis says he does, but Martin is a whole other story. Suddenly, Ava shows up wanting to talk to Alexis, only to see Christina is there. Ava says she'll come back, but Alexis asks her what she wants. Ava explains this is a legal matter. She asks to speak intimately, but Christina says no, and Alexis notes Ava isn't her customer. Ava brings up her divorce agreement, and if Alexis could arrange a loan from the estate, she'd be happy to pay it back with interest. Christina screams, "There's no way in hell my mama is giving a song to the woman who killed her grandchild." Ava again states it was an accident, and Christina tripped over luggage. She tells Alexis she wouldn't be then if this wasn't her last option, and the IRS will seize her parcels if she can't pay her aft levies. Alexis tells Ava she has to say no for her son's sake. Ava warns her that fueling Christina's visions isn't doing her any good. Christina isn't being rational, and Alexis knows it. Ava storms out. At the PCPD, Jason meets with Valentin, who wants to know what Morgan wants. Jason wants Valentin to tell him everything he knows about Jack Brennan. Valentin has known Jack for 20 times, and he's no way seen him spooked until last night. He'll give him influence on Jack, but he'll need Jason to break him out. Jason says that wouldn't be, but he'll owe him a favor in the future. That's all he can offer. Valentin accepts Jason's offer. He tells him that Brennan is a company man, and indeed though he's in Port Charles and a lowly station chief, it doesn't mean he's still not the head of the WSB. Valentin suggests being then's a cover, as he has a lot of blood on his hands, and there are plenitude of people who want him dead. All Jack watched about was the WSB, until now. Last night Jack tried to kill him not for the WSB, but for what happened to Carly. Jason thanks him for the intel, but Valentin warns him Jack always gets what he wants, and right now, that's Carly. He says Jack isn't above using the WSB to get her either unless Jason intervenes. Jason knows that would suit Valentin's requirements. Valentin tells him to suppose about Carly, who would eventually be safe. Latterly, Alexis arrives to see Valentin, assuming he needs her to represent him. Valentin tells Alexis she's a brilliant counsel, but not indeed she can save him. Alexis asks why she's then also. Valentin has commodity differently he needs her to do. At her place, Lucky surprises Liz with donuts from Eckhart's. Lucky knows they had plans last night, so why didn't she wake him up when he fell asleep on her settee? She jokes you should no way wake a case. Lucky says his neck is a little muddled up from her settee. She massages it and suggests he sleep upstairs coming time. Lucky is glad to hear there will be a coming time, and he's glad she knows what he feels for her is real and that it wouldn't change. Liz feels the same, and they kiss. Liz has to get to work, and Lucky offers to stick around and try to fix her freezer. Liz heads out, and Lucky gets a textbook from Christina, who says she needs to see him now. Christina soon arrives, having lost her key to Charlie's back door. Lucky lends her his and can see commodity is going on with her. Christina confides in Lucky that her pater is having heart problems and has to have surgery, which is why he settled the guardianship battle with Ava. It was to avoid the stress. Now, it turns out Ava can't go to take care of her son, and she doesn't earn to have her son. Ava still hasn't paid for taking her son from her. Lucky tells her there isn't much she can do about Ava, and maybe she should suppose what her son would want. Would she want her to be consumed with abomination or to find peace? Christina says she's trying to let it go, but she can't. Back at the sanitarium, Liz asks Lucas to tell her about Miami. Lucas tells her about Marco, who may be the man of his dreams. Unfortunately, he got so drunk that he got sick each over him. Still, Marco lives in Miami, so he presumably will no way see him again. Liz jokes, if only there was a way to communicate and travel long distances. She also gives him a communication that his aunt has been looking for him. Portia returns to her office and resumes reading the train on Drew. Ava shows up to check on Portia after catching the end of the press conference. Portia says it was awful watching Drew cortege Kai out in front of those journalists, and she had to sit back and let Drew use him to restore his good name. Ava knows she can't say anything because Drew has her right where he wants her. Portia notes, or so he thinks. Ava warns her to be careful, as she could lose everything, and Trina would condemn herself for her mama's test tampering. Drew also appears and tells Portia thank you, and he couldn't have done it without her. Drew leaves, and Ava notes he seems chipper. The camera kissers. To Drew's train on Portia's office.